everyone, welcome back to the Broken Wind Workshop with me, Laura, and we are continuing with the flute repair series. So here we go. Okay, so I have spared you the pain of watching me clean all the keys, so these are all done now. The body is done as well. You can see a hell of a difference, hopefully. You can see that. Nice and shiny. All cleaned up, and the pitting's actually not as bad as first thought, so that went well. And yes, all the pads are, all the keys are clean, and the pads are actually not as bad as I thought they were, so I'm not actually going to re-pad it. There's only actually a few that need doing, so it will save me time, it will save the customer money, and it's unnecessary waste for me to change the ones that don't need it. So I will show you what I do when I get there, but we have to start and go in the order that they go back on the instrument. So the first one on the flute is the G sharp, which is this one. The pad doesn't need changing on this one, so just put a bit of key oil in. I hope you can hear me okay, because my woodwind workbench here is located right next to my boiler system for the house, which is just kicked in, so I hope the sound's alright. Apologies if it isn't. But I hope you can hear me okay. Here we go. I've just got to get the bit fiddly this one, because to get the spring in line as you put the key on. Okay, so G sharp is on, and as I say, you have to get the spring in line because this is attached to the key and it actually leans against the pillar, so you get it in the right position as you put it on. So there's the G sharp there. Now the padding for this is the same for testing it as it was on the clarinet, so if you watch that series you'll know what's involved, and it's basically with a feeler gauge. Now the feeler gauge is made out of a piece of cleaning paper that I just cut. I use this because it's non-abrasive as opposed to other materials that might be slightly abrasive with what I'm about to do. And then I just got to test the padding. So by putting the feeler gauge in and gradually moving it around, I can feel if there's any leaks. Actually, this is really quite good. I mean, it's very bedded in. It's been on the instrument a long time, but it's quite nicely even around here. Actually, I don't think I need to really do anything to this one. That's nice and handy. Great, so that one's all okay. The next one is the trill keys. Now these are actually got these two little pads here, which I'm going to change both of these because they are quite worn. And these are actually held in with shellac, much like that on the clarinet. I'll just move you up a little bit so you can see my hands while I do this. So I have a little needle spring that I'm going to stick in the side of these, and because I'm replacing them it doesn't matter where I put it. I'm just using it as a way of keeping my fingers out of the way from the flame, which is surprisingly hot. And there we are, it just pops out. Not much shellac holding these ones in actually, so it took very minimal effort. There we go, you can see there, shellac on the back. Right, that's those out. So to replace them, just check the sizing of them. I've got a few different options of pad size here. They're normally 12, yeah. Oh, silly me, tried the 11s. They're normally about 12mm for this pad. Makes and models obviously vary in sizes, or age of the instrument might vary as to the size of the pads. Some of the older makes and models tend to be a little bit quirky, but yeah, 12mm it is. And then I've got my shellac stick. And I'll do the same as I did on the clarinets, and I'm just going to melt some shellac onto the back of the pad. which I can then warm up to put into position. You don't need too much, but you do want the pad to be floating on it in this case, rather than just using it as an adhesive. I just warm the pad cup a little bit. And then push that in. Let it float into position. Okay. We do the same with the other one. Pierce it, hold it in place, drop some shellac on. You really don't want the shellac to drop down the sides of the pad, you only want it on the back, because if it hits the skin on the sides, that's that pad done, because it will sort of make it'll burn the side or blister the side, and then you need to go again. So you've got to be really careful just to drop it on the back only. Great, that's those two in. So now we get them, I'll let them cool just ever so slightly, and we get them on the instrument and then seat them in place. So they're just held in place at the minute, but I know once I get it on the instrument they won't be where they need to be exactly. So just loosen the screw off ready. Now the trill keys have got these little keys here that are the bits you press. And when you put it on the instrument, you need to make sure that they go around and underneath the springs that are there for other key work. So they're not knocking it or touching it all out the way. They need to be out the way to not hinder the springs of other keys. They have their own springs, which are located up here under my hands, which we just pop into place using the spring hook, which is like a crochet hook for those that know their crafts. And then we just test the seating. So these are going to need to be moved. You can tell that before I even feel it. You can actually see it, they're touching at the back and not really at the front, that one. And this one's the opposite, I think. Yeah. So what I'm going to use for that is I have a trusty little piece of cork. It's actually synthetic cork that I've cut to an angle, and I'm just going to use that. You can also use a pad tool here. Actually I might use that one just to show you. The cork can be handy just to squash it into one area, but I'll show you with this is easier manoeuvre with these type of pads. So I'm just going to use it to push the pad forward on that one, and I need to do the opposite on this one, push the pad back. There we go, leave those settle for a second, and then I'll test with a feeler gauge again. So I'll leave you for a minute. I'm just going to faff with these for a bit, and then I will show you what to do when we replace the pads that have the screws and washers in, which is the majority on the Flute. Okay, so I am at the point where I'm going to put these 4 keys in, which is your right hand action, and I've actually just had them on, and I've just tested the pad seating underneath them all, and they're all a bit tight at the back, so the fronts are lifting a bit to the back, so we need to level that off. So the thing you do with the Flute pads is undo the little screw and washer combo here, and we just put a mark, tiny little mark, to know where the back is, back of the key, so you know what the pad you can put back in exactly the same way as it came out, especially ones like this that have been worn in that way, so you know there's no variable there. Oh, it's stuck. These might have been glued in. That's helpful. Oh! It's okay. It's all alright. Went for a fly, but it's all okay. So, having taken the pad out, you can see at the bottom here, you see the pink bit. That's actually a little paper washer. I'll try and get it down. Which has been put in there to previously try and seat the pad. So rather than having glue, and obviously they're held in, thankfully this hasn't been glued in, but they are held in by the screw in the washer, and they have these little paper washers to level them inside. And basically I wanted to take that one out. It needs to go. It was too tight at the back. So I take that out and I can then put that one back in. Tighten the screw up. And each time you do this and test the pad seating, you want to get the screw done up to the same tension, if you can. And then you want to make sure there's no creases in the top of the pad there. So what you do is you iron it. And basically, I've got this little sort of pad iron that I, again, made during my uni course and has been used so much. It's really quite worn. Spray it, I've got a little bottle of water sprayer. Spray a bit of water on there. Run the pad iron, sorry, with the water on over the top, and then I just warmed up the pad iron. Don't want it too hot, don't want to burn it. And then I just run it over the top, and it basically sort of steam irons all the creases out, so that it's nice and flat. You don't want a crease to cause the pad to not sit properly. And I need to do that on all of these. Thanks guys, that's it for today. We'll continue again shortly. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Share the Broken Wind love. I'm on Instagram, laura.brokenwind, or the Broken Wind Facebook page. If you have any questions about the repair, please add them in the comments below and I will get back to you ASAP or into my next video. Or if there's enough of them, again, I might do a Q&A, flute Q&A. Yeah, stay healthy everyone, and I'll speak to you soon.